did it! I nerfed Thanotophobia! I did it! You guys will stop DCing now, right? Right? So Behavior, in the infamously Behavior fashion, has decided to do a nerf so soon after a patch just came out. Even after previously stating that they weren't going to do this, they went back on their word. And there's a couple of tinfoil theories coming from Motstarva and Coconut saying that it's a lot of survivors that are DCing or skewing results in the matches by killing themselves early to skew results and scare Behavior into reverting parts of or the entire patch. And I'm putting my hat on too, and I'm ready for lightning to strike because I fucking agree. It's totally the case. A lot of these changes just felt really weird. So Thanotophobia, I do agree. They ended up nerfing this one. So currently, I forget the current penalty count, but it is a current 22% at max stacks of slowdown. So, to put it into context, that's 90 seconds of a generator. 22% of that is 19.8. So, effectively an additional 20 seconds on generators. That's pretty strong and relatively pretty annoying on a lot of the killers who can keep you injured, like Plague, or somebody like Legion. Unfortunately, the current new changes that are coming through is 2% stack for every single injured survivor. And then when everybody's injured, there's an additional 12%. So this puts it at 2, 4, 6, 8%, and then once it hits max, instead of 8%, it's 8, plus that 12%, putting you back at 20%. Now, the final value puts you at 18 seconds for a generator, but my problem with this is the fact that this didn't really change anything about the killers who could keep you injured the entire time. This just feels like it really just hurt the killers who couldn't make full value of the perk, but they still needed some kind of slowdown. It doesn't really change anything about the lesser guys, who, let's be honest, keeping 4 survivors injured the entire game is kind of unrealistic for killers that aren't Legion or Plague. But this didn't really address the problem of the mass slowdown games where Legion or Plague keep you injured for a majority of the game. And, you know, it's still 20 seconds down to 18. That's minus 2 seconds. Unfortunately, the problem is those 3 tiers are now infinitely worse. So the perk as a whole is kind of worthless if you're not one of those people who can keep them injured the entire game. I just feel like this was a really weird change. Like, I don't know why they didn't just cap one of the total values to something like 12%, and then, you know, something like, what, 3, 6, 9, 12? Would at least give you some kind of effect. 6% would put it at something, I think, like 5.2 seconds. And say if you kept 2 people injured the entire game, which is not totally unrealistic, it happens more often, it would give you something like 5.2 seconds per gen, and, you know, even better, I think it's like 7.2 or around 8.2 on 3 people at that 9%. Because 12% would put it at about 11.2 seconds, I believe. Give or take. So this really isn't worth running on anybody who can't chain those hits and keep people injured. But those people who are already really good at that are just as good, and this really didn't affect them. I think this is a really weird nerf. I'm not sure why they went this way. Now, Mettle of Man, it's just kind of a weird change to make. I don't disagree with the fact that endurance needed to be streamlined, and I get that, because Mettle of Man, prior to this change, doesn't cause... It gives you the endurance status, but it doesn't put you into deep wounds when you're hit. So they changed it starting from here. Currently, it takes 3 hits, 3 protection hits, before Mettle of Man is charged, and then, you know, next hit that would put you in the dying state. As long as you were injured before that, then it would it'd be ignored and you'd get speed boost, but you wouldn't be in the mending state. They buffed it to 2 hits to activate, but the bad thing is the fact that it now works like all endurance statuses, where it's any conspicuous action ends up canceling it. So you're kind of encouraged to, the moment you get that, either body block or run at the killer, because I don't know what you're going to do just sitting on your cheeks when you have endurance, because the moment you touch the gen, it's gone. Even worse is the fact that if you're 16 meters or more away, 16 meters or further, it reveals your aura. So killer will be instantly on you, you get the hit, and it's pretty much gone. So it feels as though the moment you get it, you want to use it. I think it took away a lot of variety or situations for this perk. Yeah, I mean, you really can't just... Your only option is to run at the killer or take a hit, or it's convenient in a chase if the killer's ignoring you. I just think it's way more situational this go around. I don't think this is a good nerf, to be honest. So they're changing pain res to now force survivors off of gens again, like it did previously. The current patch, it doesn't, but now it's going to force you off the gens again. Meaning, it does combo with Dead Man's Switch. And unfortunately, the only change they really made to that was they nerfed it down, Dead Man's that is, they nerfed it down to 30 seconds from, I believe right now, maximum is 45, and 15 is, yes, a deal of difference, but that's still 30 seconds you can't be touching the generator. And if any random blows it or lets go, the gen's blocked. So, that really sucks. And Pain Res, while it doesn't notify the killer, it still can knock you right off the gen. And the only reason they did this is because Merciless Storm would apparently, whenever you would trigger that value, if you got Pain Resed, it would knock the progress back down, but Merciless Storm wouldn't be put on hold or deactivate. It would keep going. I don't know why they did this. They're reintroducing the previous meta, parts of it, and it's not the worst thing in the world. But the problem is, a lot of Survive with Friends, you can already duck this issue with Pain Res or Eruption, but that's a lesser issue. You can already duck a lot of these problems with Dead Man's if you can coordinate it, but with solo queue, you really can't. So if somebody lets go of that gen, it's blocked, and you're fucked out of your gen. That really sucks. It's not Pain Res and Dead Man's. It wasn't incredibly obvious to a lot of newer players, or not even necessarily. I don't want to say newer because you do want to balance around the experienced players, but these people who are more average, or they don't necessarily catch it on, or they can't communicate to let go outside of waving rapidly at the gen, and not everybody gets that, unfortunately. So we're kind of introducing parts of the same meta again. Not real cool. As for the clown, he's fixed in 6.1.2, but nobody really cared about the clown. It's fine. Just go back. He's in the circus until then, okay? Just don't worry about it. Okay. Thank you.